Hi, I'm Chris Wise with Wise About Flower Mound, and I'm here with Tony Harmon, and he is Harmon and Kang CPAs. We're going to talk accounting. For those of you who don't know, I was an accountant for like 15 years before I became a realtor in 2002, so this is like near and dear to my heart. So, tell me about yourself. How did you get into this business?
Oh, geez. Well, I've been, both my business partner and I have been in public accounting, serving clients for the majority of our working careers.
Okay.
And it wasn't until we kind of realized that, you know, a little late in the game, but we could do this just as good on our own as we could for other people.
Exactly.
And so, you know, we finally got the right time.
Yes.
And the right opportunity, and you just said, we're going to go do it.
We're going to do it.
And
oh
we
my
did.
Gosh, that is great. So this is a recent adventure then?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
It's we officially kind of became a firm, if you will, just this year in April.
Great.
But I have over 24 years of experience. My business partner has about 15 years.
Okay.
So, like I said, we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know,
but time to branch out.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great. So do you offer services like monthly bookkeeping, tax? I mean, like what are the services that you offer?
Absolutely, yeah. We are full service.
Okay.
And we offer really some things that maybe other places don't. So in addition to the monthly, quarterly kind of bookkeeping, payroll, things like that, and tax estimates and preparation, we also go a little bit into, we're enveloping technology as part of what we do.
Okay.
And my business partner was a computer science minor in college, so he can really kind of take things and automate them and remove a lot of the manual things that involve to save time, as well as reduce errors. And so as long as he can get access to whatever it is, your systems, he can make it run very smoothly.
Oh, that's great.
The other thing that I do is that is kind of aside from what a lot of other just standard places do is we do like tax resolution or tax controversy work. So for businesses or individuals that are having a problem with IRS, we are right there to be able to help them get that monkey off their back.
Okay.
And it can be a pretty daunting monkey.
Yeah.
There's some things floating around out there in Washington about 87,000 new IRS agents over the next 10 years to come after
I heard employment was up, so I guess it's 87,000 new agents that are going to be out there auditing.
Yes, that's certainly what they're coming after. The other thing is that they know that there's been a lot of people that have experienced difficulty as a result of their business being impacted by COVID.
Yeah.
And some people in businesses haven't been able to pay their employment taxes or their income taxes, and so they've fallen behind, and now they're coming after them.
Okay.
All the nice talk about putting money in people's pockets through legislation is kind of going to make this pivot here really soon.
Yeah.
They're going to come after people to get them to what they
Wow.
owe. So it's out there, and we can do that. I've been through appeals process, and I've helped clients come out on the winning side as best as for situations that weren't normally good.
Oh, well, that's great. And that's what you need is an expert who can guide you through that process and know what to say to help navigate and hopefully appeal to the IRS so that they don't do all those bad things that they do.
Right, and I
garnish your wages, things that we deal with. I mean, I'm not on the title side, but IRS judgments and that they attach to the house, and so you can't sell the house until all that stuff is paid off.
Right, and so one of the things that is I was talking with someone today, and you know it's interesting because the top two things that people have fear of: public speaking, and the IRS.
Yes.
And as soon as we get engaged, you never have to talk to the IRS again.
Okay.
Like we become as long as you grant us
power
of attorney, it's done. You'll never talk to them again, and obviously I'll come back to you and say, here's what they're offering, this is what status, and you go, okay, thank you, and it just, you get to move on.
Yeah.
And we can get, like I said, pretty good pretty good resolutions for the right the right fact patterns as well.
Right. Well, and I think, there's fraud and all kinds of stuff like that. But, thinking about having somebody there to represent you, which would be you guys, against that expert on the other side.
Yeah.
And as just a layperson in that, it's like, I do want an expert on my side because they understand all those nuances, and it makes sense to hire somebody who's going to protect you.
Right.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right. Exactly.
And in IRS or in taxes, you're guilty until proven innocent. So it's like, I don't want to go in, I'm already guilty.
Right.
So
well, yeah, and there was interesting because there's another thing that they're talking about doing is, anyone who's ever gotten a notice from IRS knows, or maybe they don't know, but there's usually some kind of calculation error or mistake that they make.
Yeah.
And I have a client that I'm dealing with right now who they said he owed $26,000 in tax, penalty, and interest. We give him a refund now.
Yes, I know.
It's so you're talking about almost a $30,000
swing. Yes.
Yeah, but there were errors in part that was due because the IRS made errors. And so the only other thing that they're going to do when they start hiring all these new 87,000 revenue agents is right now there's a process where it has to go up to a manager for approval before something can be assessed.
Oh.
They're talking about saying,
no,
you don't need to do that.
Oh my gosh.
Just issue it.
Just issue it.
And then we'll let it sticks.
Yes.
Right? And so
that's how the property tax people do it. They raise everybody, and then anybody who protests most likely will get their thing, but the people who don't.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's already errors in the system.
Yep.
Now you take out that layer of what could have been some kind of protection. No, that's gone now too.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
But, we want to be an advocate for small business owners. I mean, that's what we are, right? So we want to be able to be out there helping you focus on your business and helping you get the IRS off your back.
Yeah.
Because they're hoping to raise a lot of revenue to pay for those 87,000 revenue agents and sell a lot of the other things they're talking about doing as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're just printing money like left and right. But we won't even talk about that. But they're just printing money left and right so then they can take more taxes out and then give it back to us. So, yeah, how's that work? Isn't that crazy?
Yes. It's yours anyway, but I'm going to take it from
you. I know, and then I'm going to give it back to you in a check and then call it a bonus. And you're like, well, wait a minute, it was mine. So, yeah, okay. Isn't it crazy? I mean, it's just, it is. Crazy. It's very crazy.
Yeah.
So, so in addition to like tax help and that kind of stuff, do you do, just trying to think of maybe some other services that you're offering, do you do, one thing that people ask me about is like corporation formation. Do you do any of that?
Yeah, so we help our clients with things like getting their organization, not just, we'll advise them on what might be the right kind of organization for them.
Yeah, because that's key. Tax-wise, I mean,
Correct.
You're doing this for protection, but then also for tax advantages and
Yeah. So we'll help them get things formed. We'll help them get things the right entity formed, and there's forms that go along with picking that right entity, not just filing something with the Texas Secretary of State. And also something that may not be front of mind is that you have to have what's called a physical presence when you start a company. You have to list an actual physical address that will be your registered agent. So that's like your official kind of correspondence spot. So if something comes in, that's where it goes.
Okay.
You can't put a P.O. box or some kind of virtual address.
Right.
So there are things out there called, they will be your registered agent. There's services that will be out there and do that. Because if you don't put that, then you don't have an actual business address. You have your home address. And if you're running your business out of your home, you don't really want to have that your home address.
Yes.
Right? Or, you may not want to have, maybe you don't even want your business address on there, depending on what you do, if you have a physical address. So, you can have, understanding that aspect of it is important to say, I'll just put my name on there, and you don't realize that's public record.
Yeah.
And so while you want to have advertising for your business and you want people to know, you don't necessarily want them to know
everything
just by looking on the internet.
Right.
You want to give it to them, that's fine.
Well, somebody like me, everything that is about me is on the internet. So much to my family's chagrin. But yes, but certainly you need, once again, you need that professional to guide you through and understand when you do this, this is what either could happen, might happen, did happen, whatever.
Yeah.
And that guide will be there to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the other thing that's a big part of just normal business operations, like I said earlier about us being able to do process efficiencies and things like that to help you increase your bottom line. We can help you look at things like margin or product lines and see what's being profitable and what isn't.
Yeah.
Also, you know, one of the other things that is important for running your business is you know, having the right technology, because we have a lot of clients that might think they got to just pick one because it's the one that's in the market and what other people are using, and that may not be the right fit for you.
Yeah.
So we can help along those lines as well, so that you can really honestly get focused on running your business. And ultimately, if you have to spend time going over and entering things in, you know, that's a drain on your family and your personal life, on your work life. And I get it. You know, when you're starting out, you know, you might need to do those things because you can't go outside and you are everything.
Yes,
right?
yes. Chief cook and bottle washer.
That's right. But when you get to that point, you know, where you have to start thinking about it, you know, when you're getting less than, you know, 5 hours of sleep every night because you're spending time on that.
Exactly.
Like, it might be the time to help let technology really play its role and help you build enhancements and efficiencies. And like I said, the Kang and Harmon and Kang is a pro at that.
Okay. So, you know, as a small business owner, and I have a lot of small business owners in a lot of my networking groups and just places that I commune with, is there an alternative to QuickBooks? Because QuickBooks Online is just so darn expensive.
So there is, there's actually a couple that are out there, and again, it depends on what might be the right thing for what you're trying to accomplish. There are things that are competitors for sure, that are smaller, and there are also things that are bigger but are new into the marketplace. So they're kind of forging that niche, and they have the big stick, if you will, to kind of make sure they're going to be in the marketplace for a while. For instance, Salesforce, right? They have a package now that small businesses can use. And we have a client that just got started on that, got some licenses. It's not the actual Salesforce itself, but it's something that if you think long term, you know, if you have a client-based business, you could also easily integrate into that as well. But they start you off with the accounting software that is new to the marketplace.
Okay. Interesting.
So absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know what people are paying, but I mean, my version is $70 or sitting that's now 75 or something like that a month, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh! And all I need is it just to be able to track my revenue and expenses. I don't track my clients per se in there. I'm not invoicing my clients out of there.
Right.
But you think about all of the home-based businesses that are needing accounting software. If it's $70 a month, and you're just a solo, you know, that's a lot of money.
Sure. Right. That's,
you know, I'd rather go back to a spreadsheet, but you know, my CPA doesn't like that. I'm sure you don't like that either. You know, it's like
$70 a month is $840 a year, right?
Exactly.
And so that adds up, and we understand that. And there are definitely new things coming out. And there's no magic elixir, you know, that everything's got its pros and cons, but you got to try and find that balance of this is what I like and this is what I can, you know, this is what makes sense economically. Right. So
it's just a challenge. I know one thing with QuickBooks is each tax ID number needs its own. You can't have multiples under the same, you know, it's like, oh my gosh. We were running like 3 companies, 2 very minor companies, and of course our major company. And I was like, I'm spending all kinds of money just to then hand it over to my CPA at the end of the year. And, you know, it was very expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the interesting thing too that's happened, this is maybe a step back from just looking at the industry as a whole, from the CPA profession. Look at the last 2 years of tax filing season.
Haven't we extended? Both of them.
Yeah, and what in 2020, it was, COVID's here, and let's push things out. And a bunch of legislation comes out in March, in April.
Yeah.
Right? And if you've already were one of those people that was ahead of the game and you filed.
You filed.
Now you got.
Which I think it was us. I think we filed in March, in early March.
Yeah.
And then our refund was like, months later.
Right. Right. So there could be some, and then this year, same thing happened, right? More legislation came out in April, and they pushed it. And then obviously in Texas, we got that extra month.
Yes, because we were shut down for a week.
Yeah. So a lot of professionals are retiring. They're leaving the practice because if I was on the fence these last 2 years, that would have done it for me.
Yeah.
Right. So we're seeing some consolidation in the profession, and we're seeing also some complexity as well that it's really hard to keep up with.
Yeah,
and
I can imagine.
Especially when it's hard for us at times to. I know what's happening, but they've been taking the shoot first, ask questions later approach. Let's just do this, and then the rules don't come out.
Right.
Or they change 5 times.
Yes.
And so that's been real challenging. And normally people who necessarily are used to filing early and not extending, let's get this done, all of a sudden we're seeing lags in that.
Yes.
And that extending things into July and August, and then you're all of a sudden, I gotta know how do I do my quarterly payments now when I still don't know what happened last year.
Exactly.
So those are kind of really complexities that are happening as a result of, and I hate blaming everything on COVID.
But it opened the floodgates for these changes.
It absolutely did. And so I know also people have filed and they find out, my unemployment compensation isn't taxable anymore. I wish I wouldn't have filed.
Right.
And so what do I do? Do I amend? And it turns out that in many cases, IRS has fixed that, they say, and they wind up getting a refund check. But there's also not 100% either. Right. So there's some value in having someone who's a professional really be there and be a part of that process. And sometimes my first answer is, well, it depends, right? Because it does, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So,
just thinking through this, and what we've been through in the last 2 tax cycles, and I don't even know how you guys do it.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm carrying a little extra baggage these days, and I got a little hair has changed its color.
I used to have brown hair too. This real estate market did me in.
So it is challenging, and that's why I said if you were someone who was on the fence, you're done.
Yeah, I'm like screw this. Yeah,
I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
and we get that, but it's also frustrating for us to tell our clients, we're not 100% sure right now. Right, and we need to let's just kind of wait a little bit more time. There's recently a lot of good value in saying let's hold on, let's wait. Very few people really have gotten hurt by waiting. You've actually almost you've benefited these last 2 years by waiting. Yeah. So it's not standard, but hopefully we don't have to keep doing that because I'd sure like to be done filing before June and July. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So the extra time is nice. Right. But it isn't really. It really isn't because you still got the other stuff to do. It's not like, that's like when I was in accounting, when we used to we'd book ahead, not illegally, but book ahead on our sales, just to finish out the year and, let me get your commitment. And I go, don't you just realize you're just robbing it from next month? If you just stop doing that and let the sales happen, instead of always trying to squeeze these in, it's like, do you understand how that, but yeah. Right. Yes. People have to keep their time when you're at a large firm and people are always scrambling towards the end to kind of make their numbers. Yes. And, it's the end of the quarter, so let me drop in some extra numbers, and then you start out the next week. Working for not recording any of them. Yes, exactly. So it never made sense to me. I know. It's it'll all smooth out. That's right. Do you not understand how this works? Yeah, but numbers, people always got to play with numbers.
That's right, because I just love it. Oh, I tell you, when I was in accounting, I loved a good reconciliation. That was my favorite thing, was trying to figure out what the patterns were and just where did, I remember that number, and doing, oh God, I love that.
Yeah.
I tell you, maybe I should come work with you for like a month when it's slow in real estate, and I'll just do reconciliations.
Well, yeah, and
just save them all up for me.
There you go. We will definitely keep a spot open for you if the market
I'm a nerd that way. Down. I'm a nerd that way. So my first job out of college was I worked for ARCO, oil and gas company, and I did natural gas pipeline imbalances, which is one of the most interesting. You're reconciling something that you can't see, taste, touch. It's just the natural gas going through a pipeline.
Yeah, sure.
And how you really didn't know because there was meters along the way, and it was just crazy. And at the time, I loved it because it was truly a puzzle. And I think that was what was so fascinating about accounting. To me, it felt like a puzzle, just trying to find all the pieces and remembering and then putting where it needed to be. And I did enjoy it. I really did, but I didn't like the drudgery of accounting.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's just kind of Tetris program in our accountant minds that kind of makes us want to make everything just all fit just in that right thing. Yeah, although I will say that there's a lot of people think it's very cut and dry, black and white. There is a lot of gray, and that's where I like to explore as well. So I like finding that. I like knowing what my boundaries are. Right? So that I say, well, here's the real conservative answer, and here's the one where I can't sign your tax return.
Right. Yes. So somewhere in between.
But let's find out where we are. And a lot of people would much rather be at this end, and there's people that want to be at this end, and that's okay as long as we can understand that there is risk in going this way. And as long as I can still sign, it's all good. But,
exactly.
But there's a point in time where there's a lot of interpretation is not a bad thing. It is a good thing. And and no one wants to be that test case, the first one to dip their toe in the water.
Yeah.
So I think there's value in kind of letting someone else do that, who's got a little more, skin in the game, and then we'll just kind of watch. But there's a lot of value in being able to interpret, and that's, I think, another thing that we're able to do. And I think a lot of people are in accounting who are professionals who've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
you've seen enough experience. I remember thinking when I was young and in the profession, thinking, wow, that person's really smart. Wow. They just have a lot of experience, really.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're smart.
Yeah,
but they know. They've seen a lot too.
Yes.
So that's another aspect of it is having that experience.
Yeah, definitely. Same thing in real estate.
Yeah.
It's really time on task.
Yes.
And understanding, of course, being educated. I mean, that's one thing, so that you know what to look for. But then also doing it day in and day out, just like you.
Yeah.
So, you could do those tax returns in your sleep because you know all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then somebody throws you a curveball and says, well, I'm, whatever.
Yeah.
Got this entity and this other entity, and then there's a hierarchy and who knows what. And then you're like, okay, I got to think about this.
Yeah. And buying and selling a business is an important thing too. And I'll throw this out there too, because one of the things that I think we're responsible for doing is helping owners roll that picture forward, right? And so I view my responsibility and my job is to say, how do I preserve value for you?
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about risk, that's the kind of stuff that might yield a benefit for you now, but then again, it could come back to bite you later,
right?
Because when someone's looking to buy your business and they have someone looking to do some diligence, they say, well, what about this? And they go, they're just going to start chipping away at your value.
Yeah.
So unless you know you're going to have that forever, there's a lot of value in thinking through what that risk means when you're talking about a multiple on your EBITDA of 4, 6, 8.
Yeah.
Right? It's got a bigger impact then. Yeah. Not to mention if you happen to get caught by the service. Like, I honestly think I've seen more things get caught in a diligence process than I have on a tax return.
Wow.
And,
really?
Well, because diligence people are being paid several $100s an hour, and they're going to earn their fee.
It's kind of like an inspector in a house. They're there to find all the faults.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And they come out and they look and they look hard, and they apply the hardest rule, right? Not the one that's kind of middle of the road that is maybe more common. They go, well, this is the black and white letter of the law, so they've eliminated that interpretation. Or they say, well, it may be over here, but I'm interpreting it this way, because they have to earn their fee.
Right.
So, I think there's a lot of conversations that I have with clients that are like, let's think about this. And what does that mean down the road? You may get away with it now, but ultimately.
But what does that do?
Yeah, someone will find it.
Yeah.
If you're ever going to go through a process where you're going to sell a part or all of your company.
Yeah, and you want that value to be as high as possible, obviously, or you wouldn't be selling.
Yes.
You're not going to sell it at a loss. At least that's the goal.
Correct. That's the objective.
Same thing with houses.
That's the objective, absolutely.
Same thing with houses. Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to have your links and all of that attached to this, so definitely check out Tony and Kang. Harmon and Kang. For your CPA needs. And
I will add, I don't always remember this up front, but we're a veteran-owned business.
Oh, great.
And operated.
So that's great. Yeah, that's good. We want to support our veterans.
Thanks.
So I'm Air Force brat myself.
Yes.
So, well, good. Well, Tony, thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
You made accounting fun. You never know.
I try.
People used to say accounting. I'd be like,
Well, and then people say tax.
Yes, tax. Oh, I hated tax. That was one of my. I did have a very good professor at A&M with tax, so he made it fun because otherwise, that was grueling. That was grueling. Oh God, you're going to make me think about my days of intermediate accounting and cost accounting and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It was. It separated the men from the boys.
It's kind of burned into my brain at this point. Yeah.
Exactly. So don't come to me for tax advice. Go to Tony.
Go right here.
Well, good. Well, thank you so very much. And we appreciate you tuning in today and checking us out. And if you have any tax or accounting needs, certainly look Tony up. And it's Harmon and Kang, and we've got their information below. So once again, I'm Chris Wise with Wise About Flower Mound. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much.